Hello and welcome to our presentation on conflict theory. The presentation is for SWG 640 Professional Seminar 2 and was created by Melissa Arzan, Elizabeth Lopez, Samantha Rodriguez, Carrie Walter, and Star Wesley. This presentation will cover the principles of conflict theory, practice settings in which conflict theory can be used, strengths and limitations of conflict theory, and how conflict theory plays a role with diverse client systems. Conflict theory is a way of studying society that focuses on the inequalities of different groups of people. Created by German philosopher Karl Marx, conflict theory suggests that human behavior, from society point of view, results from conflicts between competing groups. There are 4 principles of conflict theory. Principle 1, conflict is inevitable. Principle 2, conflict occurs when there is an unequal distribution of power in relationships. Principle 3, conflict occurs when there is an ongoing struggle for scarce resources. And principle 4, conflict occurs when those who has the most power controls the distribution of resources. Conflict theory is typically thought of as a macro practice theory because it focuses on large-scale issues but can also inform micro and meso social work practice. Schools in America is a practice setting where conflict theory can be seen. An example of conflict theory in American schools are their use of standardized testing. Standardized testing is culturally biased and helps perpetuate social inequality. These tests often favor white middle-class students whose socioeconomic background have afforded them various experiences in life that help them answer questions on these tests. The inequality of standardized tests perpetuates the inequalities within the larger society. From a real-life experience in the workplace during field practicum at a hospice setting, conflict theory was seen between groups and individuals trying to advance their own interests over the interests of others. The supervisor at the field practicum dominated and oppressed employees that were not part of the dominant group. Due to the supervisor being in a position of power, she manipulated and controlled non-dominant employees in ways that hinder their ability for professional growth. Non-dominant groups had little to no chance of growth or progress within the agency as opposed to dominant groups, despite their work ethic. The high rates of Blacks and Hispanic incarceration plays a strategic role in the systematic oppression of minorities. Throughout history, systematic racism and oppression has been a form of social control used to maintain dominance over minorities. In today's racial climate, the systematic oppression of Hispanics and Blacks continues in our criminal justice system and ranges from racial profiling to racial inequalities in sentencing and executions. There are strengths and limitations in conflict theory. The strengths of conflict theory are: it can be widely used across all populations and practice settings. It can help identify sources of conflict. It allows individuals to recognize inequalities between groups of people. It can be used at all practice levels. And it can be useful in helping individuals examine their relationship and conflicts. Limitations to conflict theory are: it is difficult to evaluate. It is limited in scope. It oversimplifies very complex social dynamics that also contribute to inequalities. And it does not come with a how-to manual. Conflict theory helps diverse clients to understand privilege and systematic oppression on the basis of gender, race, religion, and social status. Conflict theory also gives diverse clients tools to be able to identify and understand oppression within a larger context. Conflict theory offers diverse clients an explanation for reasons why inequalities exist in the world and what can be done to bring about change. Conflict theory also raises awareness of how power differences between diverse individuals can bring about prejudices that affects decision making.